Guess who's getting some class?
I'm going to college.
ML Elric.
He's going back to school.
That's what I call marine biology. Hey, boys, here's a couple of pens in case you learn how to write. When I used to dream about going to college, this is the way I always pictured it.
Wait a minute, when did you dream about going to college?
When I used to fall asleep in high school.
He's not just the big man on campus.
Hey, folks, it's on me. Shakespeare for everyone, okay? You too, honey. Ooh, I'd like to tame your shrew.
He's the wildest man on campus.
Shake it up, baby!
Say when.
Right after this drink.
ML Elric, soul of Detroit.
Baby. Come on, I'll work.
You asked interrogative questions.
Around my face.
Gone.
What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Come on.
That is not paid for by them. That is paid for by the people of Detroit.
You might be qualified, ML.
I'm not qualified for this job.
Let me tell you something. You want to go right now? Okay? You want to go right now, Albert?
There you have it, friends. Irrefutable proof that I was at the first super spreader event at whatever college that was that I went to with Rodney Dangerfield, where it was me, it was Rodney, it was Burt Young. People forget that my original roommate was Robert Downey Jr. We shared a bathroom, and let me just tell you, some of the things I found on that mirror ended up getting in trouble later. But we did share an appreciation for violent ground acquisition games, and that's one of the reasons why we've invited a special guest on today, Brian Mosallam, who's an MSU trustee who has sat through one of the most turbulent periods in Michigan State history, and also a former football player. We'll be talking to Brian about what it was like to be at the table where so many terrible decisions were made, what kind of decisions he made, what he'd like to see happen at my alma mater going forward, and how he feels about the return of play for Big Ten sports this fall. Joining us in this, I don't want to say inquisition, it's going to be more of a conversation, Mark Fellhauer, Sean Windsor, Matt Jennings, who is an adjunct professor of history, not at Michigan State, but at some recently unaccredited community college. And then Joe Zuver's the one who's trying desperately to get us focused and up on time. So, Joe, thank you once again for your heroic but futile efforts to keep us on a strict clock, but we will try and do better. If you're watching us today on Facebook Live, our sponsor is Sir Speedy. If you own or work at a company that needs marketing materials, then listen up. The new sponsor of Soul of Detroit is Sir Speedy Print Signs Marketing in Harper Woods, Troy, and Novi. Whatever you need when it comes to marketing materials, Sir Speedy has you covered. Brochures, signage, direct mail campaigns, promotional products, marketing materials such as banners. You ever think about banners? Where can you get a banner done pretty cheap and reasonably priced? It's not cheap. It's of high quality. Give them a call. Let them know that we sent you because we want to keep them on the show and we want to sort of build up a little clientele on the east side. You name it and Sir Speedy can do it. They have a full creative staff that can help you design whatever you need. So if you're a company that's just starting up and needs to get your marketing going, or you're a company that needs to take your marketing materials to the next level, you need to call my friends at Sir Speedy at 586-777-7500. That's 586-777-7500. Or visit their website, sirspeedydetroit.com, to get your marketing project going today.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, hey, Brian, thanks very much for joining us. I understand that you were just talking to a newspaper, possibly about an endorsement. What are you telling people about why you should be returned to the MSU Board of Trustees, which a lot of people, I think their main thought about the MSU Board of Trustees is, where's the tar, where's the feathers, where's the Board of Trustees?
And, I think some of that is rightfully so. I think, I think the main thing here is that in times of crisis, I was tested. And I think when you look at the public positions that I took, I was very critical of the institution. I was the first to meet with survivors, to publicly apologize to survivors. I held a town hall where no other trustee showed up but me. I issued a plan of reform in May of 2018 that of which many of my initiatives today have been adopted, like the creation of the Audit and Risk Committee, the creation of the Chief Compliance Officer, and if you even Michigan State's joint resolution with the Office of Civil Rights, both ESPN and the Detroit Free Press noted that this resolution agreement, many of the things they agreed to do were initiatives that I proposed in May of 18, 2 years earlier. So I think the theme here coming out of this, and not to mention, I think probably I would say the most telling thing and the greatest honor for me is that if you take January of 2018, where everybody in the world was calling for our resignation, and you go fast forward 2.5 years later, where now that you have survivors and the parents of the survivors endorsing me in my reelection, to me means more than anything in that I've built that rapport and that trust with them. And that I think that speaks volumes. And, you know, when the bullets were flying, I mean, everybody ran and hid, and I didn't. I mean, I faced the public and acknowledged our failures and really did a lot of things that I thought was common sense, to be honest with you. And, you know, that wasn't the hard part. The hard part was sitting in a room and 12 people looking at you like you were an alien. We're telling 7 trustees and, you know, 3 law firms and 2 PR firms that our response to this is wrong. And that was probably the more difficult part. But, you know, when you believe in something and you take a position, and everything that I've ever said publicly, I believe in 100%. I even declining an interview with ESPN Outside the Lines because I was disgusted with what they did with putting Coach Izzo and D'Antonio, two fine men next to that pedophile. You know, like I had to stay true to myself, and so. You know, I would argue that, you know, I'm a known quantity and that, you know, I know what happened. I know what needs to be done going forward. And I'd love to continue to, you know, I have unfinished business.
Brian, some people would say that maybe ESPN put that connected the story. Well, we know why they connected. Basketball and football gets eyeballs. There's no doubt about that. But some people would also say maybe it showed a lack of control in the athletic department. Did you agree with that or disagree with that?
You know, Larry Nassar was never in the athletic department. I think there was a lot of conflating of issues.
Kathy Klages was.
Pardon me?
Coach Klages was.
Yeah, so she was, yes, and she was. And so I think, you know, I'm trying to make the correlation on some of those things. You could make an argument, but I think throwing their picture up next to him, I thought was in poor taste.
Sure.
And that was the issue that I had more than anything.
Now, I love the fact that you did come out early, said that there's a cultural problem here. We need to have an independent investigation. And then amazingly, well, maybe not so amazingly in some people's eyes, Joel Ferguson seemed to disagree with that. Was there any fighting with Joel Ferguson behind the scenes? After he made the comment about going to play golf.
What do you think?
Of course, you know, I would hope there would be.
Oh, I was infuriated. I mean, there was probably a lot of things that I can't say here because he just inflamed the situation. John Engler inflamed the situation. And, you know, that's why I decided, you know, I'm done with this. You know, I'm coming out to speak publicly of how I really believe. I don't, you know, your lawyers, I don't care. They're there to advise you, you know, but you have to go with your gut on some of these things. I felt we obviously came across as tone deaf. We came across as obviously because of Joel's comments, insensitive, out of touch. And I refused, you know, to take that position. And so against the advice of all the lawyers and everybody inside, you know, I decided to say the things that I needed to do and call for this independent investigation. And so, you know, there was a lot of things behind the scenes. There were a lot of people that disappointed me in the way they reacted. And, you know, look, even like John Engler, getting rid of John Engler wasn't a partisan issue. I mean, he accused Rachel Den Hollander of taking kickbacks from her lawyer. I mean,
disgusting.
You know, Joel Ferguson defended John Engler. Dan Kelly's a Republican. Dan Kelly wanted John Engler to resign. It wasn't a partisan issue. We didn't have any partisan issues. That's why I ran for this position, is because it was about as nonpartisan as partisan could be. I mean, we never had Republican, Democrat issues because we were all Spartans. At the end of the day, we wanted what's best for Michigan State. And the partisan stuff didn't really come into play until Engler came.
So,
Brian started counting to 5, not 8, and I had a problem with that.
Brian, our show has taken a position. We've advocated that while people in Ann Arbor had a lot of fun and bad taste making fun of Michigan State because of what happened with Nassar. We don't excuse what Nassar did, and we don't hide from it. But I've urged people not to reciprocate by making light of what happened at University of Michigan with Dr. Anderson. But is there any part of you that wonders, like a lot of Spartans, like, where is ESPN now? Where's Outside the Lines when it looks like we may have a longer running and more severe case of someone betraying the trust of the students and other people who they were supposed to protect?
Well, I think, it's all, you're in the business, right? COVID has dominated the headlines. So that's kind of pushed that story a little bit to the back burner. But I'm not worried about that. What I did is I called my friends over there on that board. And I put them in touch with Rachel Denhollander. And I put them in touch with survivors. And I said, don't make the same mistakes we made. And consult, be transparent, let her guide you, let the team guide you. And because I don't want them to go through what we went through. Learn from some of the mistakes some of we made. I mean, we all made mistakes. And, there's a lot of good people on that board. There's a lot of good people at that university. And there's going to be a lot of fallout from that incident because these things are not time-stamped. This is something that, some of the regions are going to have to deal with, and are going to have to be public and open and honest and transparent about what transpired. That's really my focus. And so I wanted them to get in touch with survivors. I wanted them to start speaking to them and to realize these are real life stories and how to handle situations like this, because, we obviously handled it very poorly. And so that's really the position that I took. But, I thought we were unfairly targeted on some things and then fairly targeted on others. I just, the whole picture thing disgusted me because I know who Tom Izzo is. I know who Mark D'Antonio is. And I'll go one step further. There are people within the university structure who know who Tom Izzo is and Mark D'Antonio, who they are, who the survivors trust. And they speak very highly of them.
Hey, Brian, speaking of the university structure and getting back to this idea of being tone deaf, I remember that winter when it happened 2.5 years ago. John Engler, because I was a lot of basketball games, it's my job, right? So John Engler's courtside for all those games, kind of sitting there, and the look was, I didn't think a good one. A lot of people didn't think a good one. But speaking of the structure, have there been conversations? Have you talked about how to kind of prevent that sort of thing from happening again, where the whole university is taking a hit because you kind of can't control certain things? What's been put in place to prevent that from going forward?
Those are optics that we can't control, right? Those are donors that have seats that, can pick and choose who they want to sit by them. And I thought optically, that was very, very, that was terrible. That was terrible, which is why I went to Beekman Final Four. And, if you go back and look at the video, I said, if XYZ wants to bring John Engler to the games, that's his right. But every donor is going behind us, the trustee behind. And so if you look at the Final Four, that seating was not, if you look in Washington, D.C., at the regional final, it wasn't that way because the optics of that looked terrible. And so that was my position.
Well, speaking of optics and moving on to COVID and how the Big Ten handled, and, Michigan State jumped out right away and said, we don't want to have students here. Are you happy with the way the Big Ten handled their decision for fall sports? And optically, are you happy with the way they handled it?
So I think, the radio silence was bungled. The PR piece of it, I didn't like. But I thought that the diligence on the medical part and the medical task force put in place, and the infrastructure they built for the extra testing and the protocols they put in place were very impressive. I think, our president is an infectious disease doctor who has full confidence in their process. And he came back very supportive of it, which I support, especially being a former player. I also support putting that same type of effort in our non-revenue sports as well and doing those same type of things, just like I support putting those type of efforts for some of the instructional labs that some of our students are missing. currently right now. So, we hire the president to be the CEO of the university, and his background was a plus in this situation. And he was comfortable with the processes that they put in place. And so as a trustee, I have to believe in his leadership and support that.
So, Brian, I got two questions for you. The first one's a yes or no question. If you were still on the varsity football roster, would you play or opt out for this season?
You're talking to kind of somebody who's a hypochondriac. So as of right now, but back then when I was 21, when I was invincible, thought I was invincible, yeah, I would have played, sure.
Okay. And the other question is, we went through a big search for a university president. It seems like we've got the right candidate, at least so far. It seems like we got lucky who's someone who has an epidemiologist, which is, that's kind of a lucky stroke. We weren't thinking about COVID when you guys hired him. But we have an athletic director with no experience running an athletic program. We are in one of the Power 5 conferences. We are one of the top programs in the country. I mean, I'd say at least in the top 25, top 50. When we had Mark Hollis there, we had more championships and more success as an athletic program than any other program in the country. But instead, you guys hire a dude who basically was taking notes for you for a little while. I mean, what happened there? Should Spartans be confident that you have someone who knows what he's doing?
So Bill Beekman worked for the board, and he's probably one of the smartest human beings that I know. He knows the university structure inside out. He understands every silo within the university structure. He understands budgets. He understands a lot of these things that will make him a very good administrator and manager. Does he have a Rolodex, 3 deep to go hire certain coaches in certain sports? Probably not. Ultimately that job, the performance of his job. I mean, did he do the right thing? Did he hire the right football coach? You bet you. We got the guy we wanted. That was his first big test. And then we hire the president who evaluates the AD. And going forward, he has the support of the president, and he's got the support of this board. And right now in this environment, coming out of Nassar with a legal background, with a background in compliance, understanding budgets, and his background is actually a plus in this environment. So, I again, right, this situation is fluid, and he has the support of the president, the support of the board, and I think Spartans can take comfort. He made the right hire in Mel Tucker, and we're going to move forward with him.
Brian, going back to your playing days, you were an offensive lineman, correct?
I was 100 pounds ago, 25 years ago.
But you're still on the stat sheet. 1 reception, -5 yards. I want to know about that play.
Well, Nick Saban called the fumble roost. No, I'm just kidding.
Was it a tip pass, I'm guessing?
The ball got batted up by a D lineman, and I caught the ball and, got the 7 guys tackled. But I do have 1 reception, and I am in that stat sheet. That is correct.
What did you weigh when you played?
So I was 297. I played next to Flozell Adams, for 12 years. He played in the NFL for 12 years. And as today, I'm about 100 pounds lighter. And, I feel great. I'm blessed. And it was, it's amazing how fast time flies,
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of time flying, Brian, I think we're at the point you have to go. If you have another minute, we'll keep you. But if you have to make your next appointment, we'll let you skate.
I got a few more minutes. Go ahead.
Okay, so you blew that play. Let's talk about that play. So you played for Saban. You were on the board with Perlis. I don't know if you were recruited by Perlis. When you look back at Perlis and his time on the board and with the athletic department, what can you say about that?
I got an affinity for George because he brought me to Michigan State. I mean, he gave me my chance at the university. I love Coach Perlis, and I'll always love Coach Perlis.
What about Trustee Perlis? How'd that fella do?
You got to understand when I got on the board, he was getting sicker, and he was unhealthy, and he wasn't as engaged, and so he began to deteriorate. So as a trustee, he didn't have as much input, and a lot of that was because of his health. And I wasn't there for the first few years. But he was really sick towards his latter years when I joined. So I didn't really get a true depiction of Trustee Perlis, quite frankly.
Okay, and
No,
no offense to George, we don't want to speak ill of the dead, but yeah, I think if he'd left as football coach, his legacy would be a little richer. But in terms of students paying full tuition while taking classes virtually, is that something that's likely to be taken up by the board, or do you have a position on whether or not it's appropriate for students who aren't getting the full experience to be paying the full load?
Well, I think, the degree still says Michigan State. They're still being taught by Michigan State instructors. Our job is, to provide an education. 75% of the classes are already online. And so I think though, if there's any claims for any type of tuition reduction, it would be those that are losing lab time, research time within the labs. But at the end of the day, we're an institution, an academic institution, where most of these things are being done virtually anyway. So President Stanley's position has been such, and as a trustee, I support it.
And now you're in an election, and we hit on the Nassar stuff earlier, but you actually do have support in this election from some of the survivors of Larry Nassar, correct?
I do. That's probably, look, let's just be real here. These titles are fake. All right, these are temporary. We're temporary placeholders of an institution that lives in perpetuity. You're not important. The title you hold is important. And I think, I'm a Spartan before anything. I was a Spartan before I was a Democrat. And win, lose, or draw, I can sleep at night because I did what I believed in. I made my dad proud. I honored my mother's legacy. And having support of the survivors is very personal to me. Yeah.
Are you happy with how Title IX is treated now after the memorandum that Obama put out? Are you happy with the preponderance of evidence and how that's treated amongst the athletic department, or is it still slightly confusing?
I think what it's atrocious right now in the regards that it's very hostile towards survivors. I think Betsy DeVos has rescinded the Dear Colleague letter, and I think which makes it extremely hostile towards survivors. So there's this intersection of just the burden of proof, right, preponderance of the evidence, and without beyond a reasonable doubt. And so I think preponderance of the evidence is a deterrent because there are so many survivors afraid to come forward, because there are so many survivors that are never believed, that don't make reports. I think preponderance of the evidence is a deterrent. And, I think Betsy DeVos rolling back the Dear Colleague letter is something that is we need to get rid of.
Hey, Brian, before you go, tell us a little bit about that radio spot that you played for me with your daughter. She's going out on a limb here and she's endorsing you, which, she may regret that later. I don't know. But that's, you got a kid endorsing her dad who's doing yeoman's work, putting in tons of time, getting not compensated for it. What's wrong with this kid?
It cost me, a lot of ice cream, a lot of lobbying. My son said, Dad, are you using Sophie? He said, no, she's just helping Dad. And so I'll tell you how that idea came up, and then I gotta go. I'm sorry.
It sounds like she's using MSU to get more ice cream, and we'll play the spot for folks a little later.
So we would sit there. We would. You want to watch a game? Let's go. If they win, you get ice cream. You guys can put up your iPad for an hour. But if they lose, but if they win, you get ice cream. You ready? And so they'd sit by and they'd sit there, and you'd never see them cheer louder, as they would wager an hour of their iPad time for ice cream. And when MSU won, nothing made them happier. But really that idea was hatched out of, so when the interview committee came back, they talked about a story that Robert Saleh told them. Robert's the defensive coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers, and somebody from Dearborn that I'm very close to and known him since he was, 5 years old. Which, by the way, his destiny probably lies in Allen Park, not in East Lansing. But he told a story about when he was putting with his son, and he told his son, "Do you want me to make this putt?" Because they were wagering on something, and his son told him, "Yeah, Dad, I'm on your side. Of course, I want you to make it." And it just and like it just resonated that, you know, if we could just get back to this kid mentality, right? This innocence of just thinking that way. And there's just so much division and divisiveness and partisan, you know, the country's so divided. And that's where this idea was hatched from, that, you know, we're going to do a radio ad. We're not going to talk partisan. We're going to talk about ice cream, and we're going to talk about, you know, things that are light and soft and heart forward. I mean, there's just this, I'm really dismayed with what's transpiring regardless of which side that you're on. I mean, you know, Dan Kelly's a Republican on our board. We're very good friends. Him and I, we're very practical, pragmatic. We're Spartans, and we want to do what's best for the university. And we just, you know, this country needs to get back to that.
Well, Brian, we'll play that commercial on our website. Appreciate you making the time to come on with us, and we hope you're buying your daughter a lot of ice cream, and we hope it's at the MSU Dairy Store. Brian Mosallam, trustee at Michigan State University, has been on the firing line. He wants to go back. That's kind of crazy, but we're going to wish you luck, Brian, and thank you for joining us here on ML Soul of Detroit.
What you wish for, huh?
Yeah,
thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Brian.
Take care.
All guests appearing on ML Soul of Detroit receive a 12-pack of Altus Lager.
Oh, he loves beer.
Oh, what a terrible song. I can't let that play anymore.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Even when the fight song geek does it, it sounds fantastic. But yeah, Brian, Brian was
guy, man.
Yeah, he you know, so we're not a political show, we're not a sports show, but I hope that people
we're an network show
aren't necessarily Spartans are thinking about some of the things he had to say about the return to campus, about whether or not kids should pay full tuition even though they're watching class on TV, and this notion of going back to school. I thought it was very interesting to hear that President Stanley supported the return to play, because there were some rumors, and Sean, you may have gotten caught chasing some of this last week, that Michigan and Michigan State were going to hold out against the return to Big Ten play.
Oh, that was ridiculous, though.
I don't know if that's true or not, but
well, you're talking about, I think it was a Dan Patrick report that had it, which immediately was refuted and said, no, if we're playing, everybody's playing. So, I mean, that was the problem with it. And Brian even said that there wasn't much from the PR angle. They handled it really bad.
They did.
And now people are going to look at it and say they're coming back strictly and solely because of the money. I think that's a big portion of it, but I think the fact that they do have the right testing that they're comfortable with and the cardiographs that they're comfortable with. But I figure, and I know a guy who wrote a big column about it, that it mainly is about money. And that guy's sitting to my right.
Well, I think it's not just the money. I wrote more about the pressure, the societal and political pressure, right? Look, they made the decision. They were willing to go without the money, right? So they knew what that was. What they didn't know, I mean, they probably could imagine a little bit, but the backlash that they received, right?
Sure.
I think that, and I don't know if President Trump's call to Kevin Warren, the Big Ten commissioner, made any difference or not. Warren didn't say one way or the other. Trump obviously said he did, but it wasn't just Trump. I mean, it was the parents and the coaches were lobbying, right? Ryan Day, Ohio State's coach,
Nebraska talked about leaving the Big Ten.
Well, and they were filing lawsuits in Nebraska, a couple of people, and then
Nebraska's big reward, by the way, with the new schedule is they get to play Ohio State right off the bat, and I think they cross over with Penn State in the East.
So. Yeah, so that'll be nice. But there was
not that scared of Penn State this year.
So it was the pressure of that, the pressure then of the rest of not the rest, but a couple other leagues starting to play. Not the SEC, but the ACC and Big 12 both held games. And, some games were canceled. But so the optics of it, right? The NFL started.
Yep.
So it was starting to look like, hey, maybe we can, society in some parts is saying we can do this. The Big Ten is not. I think that motivated as much as anything else.
They did one really smart thing that the Pac-12 didn't do, and that was they didn't shut down practice, whereas the Pac-12 said everybody – they didn't even continue practicing, whereas a lot of the Big Ten teams did, so it was a lot easier to start quicker, too. So the Pac-10 really boned themselves.
Well, I am really concerned about student safety, and I'm very concerned about people putting themselves at risk without being compensated, and I don't want to compensate college players beyond the handsome compensation package that they already receive. But I will say that based on what's happened in Detroit,
What you can't see is Mike Elrick's pocket watch and the double-breasted suit he's wearing. You know what I mean? He's going to pull it out at any time.
Has this not moved you on paying players
He wears a monocle. What are you talking about?
at
He doesn't
all?
give a shit.
This has not shifted your position on paying the players at all.
I would shut the season down before I'd pay players. I think when you pay them, you take the student out of it and you just make them semi-pro athletes, and that's ridiculous. But
as he adjusts his ascot.
What I've speaking of,
how is that different from paying the
where did that ass got a microphone from?
I don't know.
Speaking of ascots, but
what about paying the students that work in the MSU bookstore?
Yeah,
they
are doing a job on the campus. The players are doing a job on the campus.
They continue to be paid, by the way. In fact, they were hiring, but they don't get free clothes. They don't get free travel. They don't get tutoring. They don't get nutrition.
No.
They don't get.
If you're a capitalist, you say the value of that work isn't as much. I hate to say that.
And there's nobody in the bookstore who figures at the end of their 4 years working at the bookstore, now I'm going to get to manage a bookstore.
So really, it's about how much they're paid, not the fact. It's not the principle that they're paid. You're okay with that, apparently.
And we're going off the rails here, and I was going to make a really important
God
point.
forbid we actually be interesting.
But,
Sorry.
I see the nattering nabobs here, but there, when you start putting one kid above the other, not just on talent, but now on financial terms, you're going to tear the team apart.
Right, because nobody lives in a capitalist society, and they're not used to that at all.
It's ironic to hear you defending capitalism. You want everybody to wear Birkenstocks and stop shaving their armpits.
I'm not just saying one way or the other. That's the way it is. It's like playing football in high school and having an offensive lineman on one side and one on the other, and one lives in a trailer park and one lives in a gated community, and saying, okay, they can't play together because they don't go home to equal lives.
So now you want to pay high school players?
No, I'm not saying that, but they understand that life's not fair.
What are you basing the issue?
Exactly. Come on.
If they
this is our shitty debate.
If they get paid, why are you saying that would tear the team apart?
Because when you have somebody who says, if I catch more balls or I get more carries or I make more interceptions, I make more money, then you see guys who stop blocking. You see guys who say, give me the ball, give me the ball. You're hurting my money.
Then they're off the team. I mean,
not off the team.
The
These
NFL
coaches are not
works
going to
like
get rid of their best players. What they're going to do is they're going to say, hey, you offensive lineman who Sean cares so much about, whether he lives in a trailer park or in a penthouse. I don't even know where the hell that even comes into. That's some illogical shit you threw out there. But you got that offensive lineman who says,
people know how to work together, understanding they don't make the same amount of money.
I'm not making any money. Maybe I won't risk getting my knee torn apart to throw a block for this guy who's an arrogant asshole who all he cares about is doing autograph signings and events and selling jerseys and trying to get on the cover of
nice broad brush of college athletics.
So here's what we got, Mark. We got somebody who's projecting their insecure, jealous view of humanity onto freaking college football players. And basketball players.
Hey, let me just tell you, it's my insecurity that has me standing next to shorter people. Okay, that's how I want to seem taller.
I won't change my mind on anything, regardless of the facts that are set out before me. I'm dug in. And I'll never change.
Freight nut. Freight nut. Freight nut. Freight infinity. Freight infinity +1. No.
And that was your great debate. Actually, what I was going to say is that the city of Detroit's instant testing program for police and firefighters shows that it is possible to try and keep a population healthy under the right circumstances. But we lost that all in this rush to try and ruin amateur athletics. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.
Mark, thank you for once for not letting him hijack, another uninteresting topic.
I'm not going to say another word because I don't want to get more off
I'm
track.
the one that gets branded the communist on this show. I cannot believe it.
Well, you do live in Potemkin Village, Washington County.
Oh, but I acknowledge the world we live in.
What's the world you live in? You got locally sourced, organic.
Not everybody makes the same amount of money.
Yeah, and guess what? In college, they don't all have to make. Some kids get scholarships and some
to the
don't.
wrong dude, I enjoy a fillet of fish.
Some kids get to start and some don't.
You're the ones with your organic prunes and asparagus. Tips.
I don't eat organic prunes. I'm not feeling well.
That
so
doesn't.
I apologize.
Since you want them to all be unpaid, why is it fair that some kids get to start and some don't? Why not? Everybody gets to start and have the equal amount of plays.
Well, exactly.
It wants to be so egalitarian.
That's based on talent.
Well, so is paying people.
No, it's not. paying them is based. It's based, yes, to some extent on talent, but their talent is allowed to shine based on other people who will not be compensated.
When is your talent going to be allowed to shine?
So, Sean,
they pay NFL players.
Okay, so this is our goddamn great debate. Sorry for the blasphemy, you sons of bitches.
No, what we were supposed to talk about? Oh, I know what you wanted to argue about because you love to shove cameras in people's faces and knocking on their doors, and you wanted to justify that. That was supposed to be our debate.
Yeah, so let me tell you how that hierarchy works. There's some people who there's a hat they sell named after them. It's pink. You put it on top of your head, and some presidents grab you by it who just sit there and say, "Oh, no comment. Okay, thank you." And then there are warriors. There are people in the trenches. There are people who demand answers, who think that the people deserve to hold the people who want to represent them accountable. Those are the people.
I see what you're saying. You walked up to those doors knowing full well it was just for the intro for this mother freaking podcast.
No, that's not true. There's
always an entrepreneurial angle underneath. You know what I mean, Mark? But I admire it.
Wait a minute.
His house was paid off when he was 24 years old.
Who's talking?
How can you not admire that?
Who's talking? Yes, some high school lineman in a trailer park paid it off for me. So life isn't fair. You're right. How is it that I'm an entrepreneurial guy when you guys are sitting here writing checks to 18-year-old kids? I mean, come on.
Yeah, because they don't work. They're not worth anything. You're right. I like your world.
They're worth $100,000 or more, which is what they're paid to go to college.
He thinks we're in 1840s London, doesn't he? You know what I mean? I don't get.
What is it? Is that a Dickens?
Everybody goes to.
I guess you are what you read.
Do you still have open sewage?
Pardon?
Yeah, cholera.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Since 2017, the Hope Not Handcuffs program has helped 4,600 people get the help and resources they may not have gotten otherwise. Anyone struggling with a substance use disorder or addiction, whether it be heroin, painkillers, cocaine, even alcohol, can go into one of 100 participating police locations and ask for help with no fear of being arrested. The police officer will treat them with compassion and call a volunteer angel. They will come to the police department and assist with paperwork and making phone calls to get them placed into treatment that day. The first step doesn't need to be the hardest. There is hope, not for me, unfortunately, but if you go to hopenothandcuffs.com, that's hope, not handcuffs, all one word.com to learn more, then you can make that first step toward recovery. Thank you very much to Hope Not Handcuffs for sponsoring our great debate. It wasn't that great. It's not quite over because I persist in this notion that you are so okay. Let's forget it. We're not going to pay the kids. They're not going to get money, and now we're going to put them at risk of potentially long-term disease. That's why I'm against the return to play. Although I can see the testing may make it viable, but I don't think you can put people at risk like that without paying them. And I think when you pay them, you destroy college athletics.
Wait a sec, though. Don't they assume some sort of risk by the nature of the game in and of itself? I mean, they could easily develop CTE, which for a young person is worse than maybe getting COVID.
I don't think the CDC has prescribed guidelines for avoiding CTE.
Okay, they could easily blow out their knee, and because they don't get paid, they also don't get health coverage once they're out of the school.
Well, they do get paid. They get free tuition, free clothes.
No, but I mean, when they could have a long-term injury that they're then on their own after.
Oh,
my point is, you're assuming some risk when you play football. This year, they're assuming the risk of coronavirus and COVID-19.
I think the risks that you're talking about, not only do they assume them every day, but there are efforts being made to mitigate those with better helmets, with better pads, with different ways of tackling and things like that. We are trying to find a solution to those problems that are not so prescribable like a vaccine. But there's
other ways to mitigate it.
Universities taking this massive budget they have and providing some sort of insurance policy for every student on the team, on every team, whatever the sport is, who suffer a debilitating injury, where they will receive some level of compensation to help support them for the rest of their life.
But they're also doing some kind of mitigation for COVID. So you're still against it?
I'm against it strictly on the grounds that I think this is one more step to professionalizing college athletics, and really not college athletics, just the lucrative ones, because the kids on the ribbon and juggling the ball on my neck team, no matter what happens, they're not going to get paid shit.
Yeah, because they don't provide any revenue.
But aren't they also taking the risk? I mean, aren't you guys saying that the reason people should be compensated is because they take great risks? There are lots of gymnasts, there are lots of divers who end up...
No. That was in regards to returning to play.
Because they generate funds, right?
Generate a lot of revenue.
Yeah.
So you guys, you high-minded guys just look at these kids as assets. They're just cogs in the great athletic machine that churns
They
out.
are. That's how the system treats them. We're saying pay them.
You have bowed to the system.
No, you want them to be indentured. We're saying pay them.
No,
that's
they're
how
not
the system
indentured.
is.
They don't want to play anymore. They don't get paid anymore. And their pay is believe me, as someone who's paying 2 college tuition bills, they are compensated.
So that's
not the cost. But that's not the cost of the university, what you're paying in tuition, right? That's not what the cost is to the university and the scholarship they provide. But that aside, they are a nonprofit, so therefore they have to spend all the revenue. So instead of the money going to the players, it goes to, the 15, 16, 20 associate athletic directors or fundraisers that they have in and of the apartment or department. They also use it to build, waterfalls and these fancy locker rooms. I personally would rather see it go to the players.
I'd rather see it go to the racquetball team. I'd rather see it go to the varsity speed walking team. I'd rather see it go to the varsity.
They're not earning the money.
I know, but what I'm saying is if Mark's argument is they make all this money, they have to spend it. I'm like, great, spend it on having more sports.
Or spend it on the people that are bringing in the revenue.
Because sports should teach you about life. You guys think that life is sports, and that's a mistake. That's why you're sitting there watching those damn TVs.
No, we think
Sunday.
if you earn and you have a value, then you should get paid for that value. That's all.
It's called a scholarship. You're rewarded. There's your scholarship.
That's not the same. That's not enough.
Were you making that much money when you were 18, 19, 20?
I wasn't.
You didn't have the talent.
Exactly. I still don't have any talent.
How are you getting paid now if it's based on talent?
I'm not.
Stealing.
I get a face mask
Damn
from you.
thief.
I don't get paid shit.
No, I was thinking about your real job. Let me just make
I
a quick
drive
call.
all the way out here. I park behind your little whatever with your Spartan plate. And,
your boss, Sean, just admitted that he's not worth a damn. Can we can we let him go?
Come on.
Can we maybe Mitch Allen can write an extra column every week?
No, you're an uber capitalist, and
that'll cost more.
Unless it doesn't suit you. But that's what we've learned in this debate, right, Mark?
I'll get back to you later, boss. Sorry, I got to take another call. I got to get back in the air. Sorry, Sean's done talking, so I'm back. Yeah, what's that?
I know you're not the only person that feels this way. I don't understand. I don't understand the logic behind it. I don't get it.
Well, I can't make you.
He's a communist.
I can't make a blind man see even.
But I think
Sullivan
you have this fear that it's going to ruin the sport. I don't know why you would think it would ruin the sport.
I think it's already ruining the sports. Look at how well Johnny Manziel turned out.
Then give up your season tickets.
But the debate is, should they be playing if they're not paid? Now, you guys say they should never be playing if they're not paid, and I'm saying I don't think they should be playing because
those are two.
I don't want them to be paid.
I thought the separate thing. So we'll start with the fact that they're not going to be paid. So then, in that light, should they play? I think it's up to them because they're assuming the risk that they normally would take.
I thought the debate was should the public be able to protest at public figures' homes.
ML's mad, so we changed it on the fly.
If they are paid, that's probably not going to be enough to get them through. But if they call Luke Nowacki, I bet they can put that money to good use.
Now he's back to being a capitalist. Go ahead and read your reads.
Some people like to save up for something really nice, like a new earring that looks cool. Or maybe even a time machine that could take you back to the 90s when dudes with earrings that weren't pro athletes were a thing and college athletes were pleased just to be out there on the field of valor. If you're wondering how you can budget for a major purchase, call Luke Nowacki at 248-663-4748 or email at lnowacki@pinnaclewealthstrategies.com. Tell them Sean and Mark sent you because they wanted your sons and daughters to get all this money and then COVID and all that other shit. Luke will assist you to devise a plan targeted to help you reach your financial goals. If these two knuckleheads don't cause them to die. The good thing about Luke is when you call him, he'll make it all about you, sweetheart.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Royal Alliance Associates, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Royal Alliance Associates, Inc. is separately owned, and other entities and or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Royal Alliance Associates, Inc.
Oh man, the geeks have inherited the earth.
Did I do that?
What a dork.
Does him wanting to play with us again mean that he's turning into a geek, or we're turning into cool guys?
The geeks have not just inherited the earth, they've taken over this show. And if it wasn't for our generous sponsors, I'd still be fighting a rearguard action against injustice.
Which, going by you would give that money to Matt Jennings, right? the sponsor money. I mean, that's what you're saying.
Matt is
that'll work.
Matt,
Yeah, I agree. Why not?
Matt exists to spread knowledge. Maybe you could absorb some.
Yeah. Okay.
Soak it up a little bit. And maybe
Okay.
we'll spread that
Okay.
around.
Okay, brother.
Campus. But before we get to our Geek of the Week or new Geeks of the Week, additional geeks, I want to talk to you about real quick about the original Detroit lager. That's Altus. It's making a comeback here in the greatest city in the world. Altus is the do anything, anytime with anyone beer. I love to grab a case whenever it's hot out, whenever it's cold out, doesn't matter. Altus is the beer for any occasion, and I always try and make sure I have some stocked at home. The fun fact about Altus is it only takes 6 of them to make anyone a 10. There's a lot of things that started here in Detroit that went away, but boy, am I glad Altus is back. It's a lager that packs a punch. It tastes delicious. It's seriously smooth. It's full of flavor, unlike the original. I mean, it's just as cool looking as the original. It's just as genuine as the original. It's brewed right here in Detroit. I got to confess, it tastes a lot better than the original. So go pick up some cans a day. It's on tap at bars near you. Caju Cafe has it on tap at the Garage Bar. Stop by and get some. Or just go to the store. If you don't know where to go to altus.beer to find the location nearest you. I promise this beer is insanely good, and you will be thanking me for the suggestion. And might I add, get some pretzels too. So, our Geek of the Week. I don't know if Sean's going to allow me to go first. What's happening over there?
I love it when you speak.
Did you
that like that? Drop your voice down a little bit.
I would say I love it when you listen, but so far there's no evidence of that.
Is this NPR One?
Just that you hear. I didn't know that you were listening there. It's
you're right. I do generally tune you out, but I'm trying my best not to today.
Okay, so you got a Geek of the Week.
I think it's his condescending voice, but go ahead. You want to go first, Sean?
You think it is?
Like a little bit.
It's the tone.
A little bit.
Yeah.
This is my condescending voice?
No, when you go really deep.
Sorry. I was trying to start with my condescending voice.
Am I going?
I didn't know. I didn't know I had a lower gear. Sean, if you'd care to start us off, I'd be happy to share your wisdom with.
Sure, it's not really wisdom,
listeners.
My Geek of the Week is sort of a mystery. Not to me, maybe to Mike. I don't know. An unknown. I mean, we know there's somebody out there. Could be several people, but
come on, Ayn Rand, spit it out.
Come on, man. This Ayn Rand.
Let's go. I'm about to shrug. Come on.
Come on, Atlas.
Come on.
The CDC, as we all know, posted information saying that coronavirus can now be spread through the air, through an aerosol, maybe further than 6 feet away, and then quickly pulled it down. I think within hours.
Yeah, very fast.
It's a couple days. It was up there before.
I thought it was up for 7 hours, and then they pulled it.
CNN noticed it, reported on it, and then somebody said, "Oh, that shouldn't have been up there."
Oh, yeah.
So it was up there, I think, like Friday, and they yanked it down on Sunday or Monday.
Right. So the CDC is not just going to mistakenly say,
right,
"Oh, this is how we think." Right. This is how we think, and then say, "Oh, we made a mistake. We really don't think like that." Somebody above the CDC decided that was bad, and they needed to pull that down. I don't know if it went all the way to Trump or somebody was trying to make President Trump happy. Who knows? Whoever made that decision, my guess is it was probably a few people, is a serious Geek of the Week, because we got to have science, folks, don't we? We got to know what the doctors are thinking, and this is what they think. It may not be politically expedient. It may be uncomfortable. We got to know that, period.
Well, here's my problem with that is I don't know if they pulled it down intentionally. I don't know if it was, as they said, a mistake. But my problem is the CDC has become so politicized that I don't know. And when I don't know what the government agency that should be more important to me than any other right now is doing and why they're doing it, that scares me. Thanks, John Galt. Okay, Mr. Mark?
John Galt. Nice reference, bringing it back to Ayn Rand. Mike's kind
of... Howard Rourke.
Mine's kind of a broad brush of people that set up fake or non... what's the right word? One
burner
that's
accounts?
Not authorized GoFundMe accounts or charities. And it came up again today because Ahmaud Arbery, I think we all know the guy who was jogging and then shot by the 2 vigilantes and murdered. And the mom has come out today and said, there are 3 nonprofit or GoFundMe or Facebook accounts that are trying to raise money, and knock it off. We just want to get justice. And it sucks that people are out there to take advantage of these tragedies without getting approval. apparently there's just no way to stop it, and it's going to keep happening. But and that just rubs me the wrong way, and I would assume rubs everybody the wrong way.
Except for Elwer, because he likes to take other people's money and distribute it as he sees fits.
So I'm not a GoFundMe fan. In fact, when we do our fundraiser for Clark Park, we use Patronicity, which is a local version, but a better version of GoFundMe. We did use GoFundMe initially, and when I contacted them and said, well, how do I get records to donors so they can use it on their taxes to get a tax credit, they said, yeah, we don't do anything like that. I'm like, well, why not? And they said, well, because we don't even check if the people who use GoFundMe are nonprofits or not. We don't know if they're charities. We just run the site. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, okay. All right then. And then you owe us $10,000. And they said, yeah, we take 3% off the top. And I'm like, okay, well, that's fine because that's what credit cards do. So I expect 3%. That's worth it for the help. And, you host the website and that's cool. I say, okay, great. So now you owe me $9,700. And they said, actually, no, you have to get the check from our banking partner. And I said, well, I got a bank. Can't you just release it to my bank? They said, no, you've got to use our banking partner. I said,
they've all become pretty much banks. I mean, that's really what a lot of the online websites are that do that. They're banks.
So I said, so what do? You tell them how much I've got coming and they cut me a check. They said, yeah, that's pretty much it. I said, okay, cool. Well, then, who do I kind of say? Well, that's another 5%. I said, so wait, so my $10,000 just turned to $9,200?
Yeah, well, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, well, I go to Patronicity. And
exactly.
But so GoFundMe, yeah, and they should be the ones just saying, "Hey, we got a lot of people trying to raise money for Mr. Arbery. Who are you guys? For the 3%, the 5%, the 8% overall, they could do a little due diligence." So I think
she's particularly mad. I think there's 2 Facebook fundraising sites and groups, and she's like, "We just want justice. No, we don't want this," and the people aren't listening to her.
Have you gotten to your Geek of the Week, Mike? Or are you still piggybacking on Mark?
I'm living.
I'm sorry. I stepped
out of the,
I stepped out of the studio for a second, and you're still talking about this, so I wasn't sure.
It was perhaps you had to get a sip from the fountainhead.
Okay, I'm tapped with those references now.
Yeah. Plus, I would think you would like all that literature, Ayn Rand, right? You're rather Randian anyway, because you like to think of the great people need to make all the decisions. It's really not so much about capitalism as they're great men mostly, right? Like you.
Well, I'll admit
who want to run everything else.
I'll admit to being a little randy from time to time, but I was impressed with the Howard Rourke reference. I had just looked that one up. I had no idea that. Right after being a figure in Ayn Rand's literature, that he would run Fantasy Island. So Howard Rourke, very multitasking gentleman, and looked fantastic in that white suit. I have
a white suit.
Oh, you do? Yeah. I wish you had a white flag.
With a blue
shit right now.
Cummerbund.
What?
Yeah.
We'll wear it next week.
I will.
If it fits, I'll give you $100.
I didn't say it fit.
Oh, okay. Well, it's so I this is a struggle.
I love how flustered he is today.
This is Joe. Can we reset Joe? Can we?
No, when the world doesn't center around him, he is lost.
I think Jennings fell asleep. I don't know what's going on. He's totally frozen.
Calgon, take me away. Okay, so my candidates are the main family that had the big wedding that has led to multiple deaths because they did not take any of the COVID measures, or the gender reveal party out west that led to the death of at least one firefighter and set off some crazy wildfires because people are just so in love with themselves. But really, my Geek of the Week is Lindsey Graham, and it's not for the reason you might think. Please hear me out, because I know there are a lot of people going like, you're just picking on Donald Trump again. Why is it everybody talks about snowflakes being such chicken shits, but then you criticize Trump and everybody turns into I don't know what the opposite of a snowflake is.
Don't mess with my dictator.
They start getting yeah, it's a tater tot. That's it's but let me explain why Lindsey Graham is my choice, because I think we were going to debate whether or not the Senate has the right to name and ratify a replacement for Ruth Bader Ginsburg, but we dropped that topic because we all agreed it is the Senate's right. The real and whether it's well advised or ill advised, we're not going to get into that because we're not a political show. But Lindsey Graham, to me, epitomizes what's wrong with American politics, because there is so much cynicism. And yes, we're used to politicians flip-flopping, and yes, we're doing what's in their best interest, and we're used to them doing what they can when they can. But just listen to this cut from Lindsey Graham.
Really don't care if an opening comes in the last year of President Trump's term and the primary process has started, we'll wait till the next election. And I've got a pretty good chance of being the judiciary.
You're on the record.
Yeah.
All right.
Hold it.
He says, hold the tape. So this is what I'm talking about. Not only does he go out there and take this position, which he's not obligated to take, but he takes a position, but then he's so nervy that he says, you can use these words against me. Well, fate has it that the words are being used against him, and his response is, y'all would do the same thing. I mean, this is what's wrong with our politics. So Lindsey Graham is my Geek of the Week, but all politicians from both sides of the aisle who tell us one thing, who brag about it, who make it a point of pride, and then reverse themselves with no reason other than we can and you would do it. That is why we can't talk to each other, why Brian Masalam was saying things are so hostile in this country. That is exactly why, because politicians like this, and today it's Lindsey Graham, tomorrow it could be a Democrat, but politicians of this ilk are poisoning this country. They are a toxic waste pool. It's not a swamp. It's a toxic waste pool. They're everywhere. And so if you are someone who thinks that this is okay, you also are my Geek of the Week.
The kids are soft.
I don't care for that guy.
Me neither. Too soft.
I'm gonna pretend like you need to just make my dick go soft.
Well, there's flaccid sausages, and then there's delicious sausages, and you can find the best sausages at The Butcher Shop, which is the place to go for prime meats. It's The Butcher on Orchard Lake Road, just west of Middle Belt. Go in this week and spend $50 or more and tell them ML sent you, and The Butcher will give you a free pound of breakfast sausage links. All this sausage is made in-house from scratch by Chef Dave and our own Matt Jennings. Go to thebutchery.com to see all their amazing selections and follow them on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook to see what Chef Dave is carving up daily. You want to reach him? Give him a call, 248-682-COWS. That's 248-682-COWS. That's their number. They even have small private cooking classes with Chef Dave and Chef Julie Hubbard. Check them out. It's worth the drive, I promise you. And when you get there, make sure to tell them that ML sent you.
Hi, Matt.
Yep. Hey, guys.
Matt, you've been waiting patiently to pay athletes. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't mind. They deserve it.
Matt, get to the point.
Hey, now you're outvoted 3-1, ML.
Yeah, but he's endorsing the wrong show. It's pimping for the Drew and Mike show. Those kids, I know they need a break, but come on. Okay, Sausage Man, what happened this day in history?
Okay, in 1934, Portsmouth Spartans began their first NFL season as anyone?
The Detroit Lions.
The Detroit Lions. And they had a pretty good season, too. I think it was like 10 wins and 3 losses. And I don't think much has changed, really. I mean, I can tell you the one thing that the 34 Lions have in common with the Lions today is a Great Depression.
And there's, you know what else they have in common with today's Lions? They have 34 professional football players on the team.
Matt.
That's true.
Matt, I love you. I love you, my man. I'm no comedian. Mike Elrick, I guess, thinks he's a comedian. But maybe when you're ending a joke, don't end it with a comma.
Well, because there's more.
I was expecting more. That's what I was expecting.
I've often thought that Sean was like an old woman, but now I know he's a grandma.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Well, you won't have the.
That's pretty good.
You won't have the worst joke.
Matt, don't laugh at that, please. It's not good at all.
Keep it coming, Matt. You really, you're really
telling
coming
you
along.
though. Let me just.
There's no reason to suck up to him.
Let me just explain to you as a kid how much I loved the Lions. Not just me, my cousin, my brother, all the kids in the neighborhood. I mean, we'd go out like every morning on Saturday, and just kind of toss the Prozac around.
Is this your next one, by the way?
We started feeling better after a while about the Lions.
That wasn't a comma. That was an ellipsis. That was actually that may have been a suicide note.
Did I dwindle away or something?
It's okay.
No, our audience
a soft
did,
exclamation point.
To those of you still with us, apologies. Matt, redemption is thine.
Go forth.
Power forward.
Go forth.
Well, I'll miss you guys. In '67, a serious fight broke out between two fraternities during a concert featuring several local bands at a ballroom in West Philly. And of course, that fight cut the concert short. But good thing, because one of the singers from a doo-wop band named Daryl met an R&B guitarist by the name of John, who later became Hall & Oates.
Wow.
Yeah, that's not the fucking joke.
Yeah, and by the way,
I thought it was.
By the way,
sorry.
this isn't West Philly, so I don't know how local those bands are. But go ahead.
Well, they later became Hall & Oates, and they sold over 80 million records. At least that's what John Oates told me when he took my order at McDonald's.
Wow.
What was your order? What's your go-to order at McDonald's?
Does it have to have a toy?
Two McChickens and a McCock shake.
Spicy or
That
not?
sounds a lot like the lineup for this show.
Spicy or no?
Spicy, extra spicy. Hey, you guys remember Chernobyl, right?
Yeah, well.
Do you rub the sauce
You know,
all over your arms? Is that why you cut your shirts off?
Yeah. Will you stop? You know the place, Chernobyl, the place where you were born with two arms and the
Yes.
third one was free?
Yeah, 86.
Yeah, the disaster almost as bad as K-pop. Yeah.
I can think of a bigger disaster. More recent.
The Ukraine.
If you're setting this up, man,
Poor
just to
Matt.
set it up, then I think we're in trouble.
In 2000, we are in trouble. In 2007, Ukraine announced that they were covering up Chernobyl with steel plating, and that is quite a big endeavor. Last time I saw something covered up that big, Tiger Woods is putting his pants back on. Now, I'm not saying that it's radioactive or anything, but he's the only golfer I know that on and off the course, he used a ball washer in between holes.
Wow. Don't
I don't
sign.
know what to say. I mean,
Don't sign your card at
No,
the end of that
no.
round. That was that's a DQ. I was going to read the David Hall spot, but I got to put some space between that and David Hall.
I like it though.
Do not do that.
Yeah, from gay jokes to race jokes. That's great. We're making progress. God.
They're jokes.
Yeah, they're jokes. They're jokes.
We got one more.
Go forth.
No, I'm done.
That's it?
Come on, man.
Are you really done,
No,
or are you mad?
No, I'm not. No, I am not mad.
You got to have one more.
I had some riffing that I was going to do, but good one. Sean's hurt, and
No, I'm not hurt.
running late.
I just like that. I mean, when you're setting up a joke by reading a table of contents first, you know what I mean?
Oh, poor Matt.
I know.
Well, that's how. How do you think I prepare for a book? I can't just jump in and read something. I got to know what I'm expecting.
That's true. What kind of sauce do you put
better
on
than-
your chicken
Better than
sandwiches?
just looking at the pictures like I usually do.
He's dejected.
What kind of sauce do you put on your chicken sandwiches?
Garlic ranch.
Oh, there you go.
Poor Maddie.
There's an all-night party in room 7609. And you can dance together all night if you've got the time.
One of the reasons we conceived of Room 7609 is to give the show a little bit of a lift. Music has the power, the ability to transcend, to take us from a dark place and put us on a higher plane. And so in that spirit, I want to say, Matt, as I see you strap on your seatbelt and put your truck into gear, please do not park on the train tracks. I know there's probably a temptation to do so right now, but I want you to deliver that load, and I just want you to just come back stronger and better than ever, little buckaroo.
Keep your eyes on the
All
road
right.
too, my man.
Who's making the gay jokes now?
What? If you call yourself little buckaroo, I guess so. But no, just keep two hands on the wheel. We appreciate you teaching us a little bit about history. We also appreciate my good friend David Hall and Hall Financial, who are working around the clock to help people save money by refinancing. It's a great time to look at your options, and it's why many people are refinancing right now. If you haven't refinanced in the past year, what are you waiting for? The interest rates are as low as they've ever been, and you can lower your monthly payments and maybe save a couple of monthly payments by refinancing as we go through these very turbulent times. And why not see if you can save some money by cutting your term, maybe get a shorter window. Sean talked about how fast I paid off my house because I would rather pay more for less time and leave more money in my pocket. If you're worried about people coming into your house, don't worry about it. They can do curbside appraisals. They can let you know what your house is worth and get you a good deal. Hall Financial Services, the fastest in the business. That's why they have nearly 18 billion 5-star reviews from Michigan homeowners. Go to our webpage and click on their logo to get started, or call 248-308-5000. Hall Financial, lower payments, better options, more personal attention, and Duran Duran. NMLS 1467435. We're taking a trip north to Canada. So I think there's a chance that this tune, Canada, K-H-A-N-D-A, K-H-A-N-A-D-A, anyway, Canada, uncommon spelling, phonetic spelling. I think there was a chance it was going to make it on the album until the A&R guy said, okay, I'm with you. I'm like, oh, okay, where'd the sitar come from?
Yeah, it was a little wacky of an ending there.
Yeah, and what's that little jangly thing at the end? He's like, yeah, we got enough good tracks. Let's just, let's make that a B-side. And it was the B-side. It was the B-side of the second single that Duran Duran released, which is called Careless Memories. But if you like B-sides and if you like Duran Duran, there is a YouTube playlist called Duran Duran B-sides, and there are some amazing tunes from Duran Duran that didn't make it because these guys, once again, were way more than pretty boys. They had a lot of music in them. They're still performing and producing some good music. One thing that they do that's a lot of fun is things called night versions of their songs, which you may think of as like an extended cut or a remix. There are tons of night versions out there that are sort of not exactly B-sides, but it's great music in a way you hadn't heard it before. But when I think of new wave bands with B-sides, Duran Duran is right at the top of the list. They have more great music that was kind of thrown on the other side of a single. Remember back when we used to get singles and shit like that? And Canada is one of my favorites. What did you guys think? Did you now? So it's Duran Duran because I threw
Sure.
that out there in the intro. But if you had not heard their name, who would you think that band was?
Rush.
Oh, damn.
Oh, it is kind of a Rush light.
Well, the bass line. But more importantly, do you feel a bit better now, Mikey? I mean, you got to do your bit. We followed the script. You got to talk. Nobody interrupted you. Are you feeling better?
I was just going to say something and you interrupted me.
Sorry.
It's hard to misplace Simon Le Bon's voice, though.
It is. No, for sure. But the bass line was a little rushy.
Yeah.
But somebody pointed out, maybe it was you, Mark, that the drums were nowhere near.
No. Yeah, not strong enough to be a Rush.
Exactly.
Well, it's because he didn't have 77 different things in his kit. I mean, the thing I admire about Neil Peart more than we got to stop talking about Canadian. Every time we talk about a Canadian rock band, I lose a job. But and if you want to know what we're talking about, I reference you to our Guilty Pleasures episode, which is kind of my out cue at Fox 2. But
no, will you sing some Triumph for us right now?
Again, last time last time I sang some Triumph, I had to change workplaces.
I love that. My kids loved you singing "Fight the Good Fight."
Every minute, every day.
There we go.
Never
now
mind.
you're feeling better. Mike Elric, ladies and gentlemen, has finally returned to his podcast.
Anyway,
he's so hard on himself.
Neil Peart,
yeah.
Even if you could be that good a drummer, would you want to carry all that shit around? I mean, you want to load the van.
He pays people to do that.
Now, not in the beginning when he's going from Medicine Hat to Moose Sack, Saskatchewan. I mean, or Tickly Pineapple,
Hey man,
Alberta.
If that's what it takes to get the Peart sound, then you do it.
You think that? Speaking of hats, do you think the hat was the key to his drumming?
Did he wear a
It
hat?
doesn't work if you do what you love. You remember that.
Yeah, ML.
That's wisdom from an unexpected source. Thank you. Yes, that's true. That's why we do appreciate you supporting our sponsors, because we wouldn't do this for free and we can't. So make sure when
Matt,
you
at the next truck stop you get to, why don't you stitch that and we'll frame it and hang it up for Mike.
Before we fully move,
little needle point,
and close the door on room 760.
Yes.
What is it? 609.
You know why you can't remember it? Because you didn't get one of our great
keychains,
keychains, which are available at thedrewmikestore.com.
But one of the B-sides also to Careless Memories, which it's weird to say that there's a B-side, but they would issue, on a 12-inch, a couple songs, is they did a cover of Fame by David Bowie. Did you know that?
I did know they did a cover of David Bowie.
Is it good or is it terrible?
I did not know it was a B-side. The Duran Duran did a cover album called Thank You, which they covered hits of bands that had a great influence on them. David Bowie was a major influence on Simon Le Bon and Duran Duran, but Thank You is not a great album.
Really?
It's not.
I've never even heard of it. What
the Fame cover is okay, but
what else is on there? Do you know off the top of your head? I can look
White
it up.
Lines. They do a bunch of, and Simon Le Bon is pretty cool, but he's not cool enough to do White Lines. Hey, it doesn't quite work.
So they released it in 95. White Lines. I want to take you higher.
Yeah,
Sly Stones.
Right. Well, you have to remember that the rhythm section, despite your slagging off of Andy Taylor as a drummer, they're heavily influenced by funk and disco, and that's why you have such a thumping bass, and why Duran Duran is so danceable, and why the music has such a strong identity, and why they have these night versions, because the night versions tend to be, very heavy on the rhythm section, where it's kind of, let's just take a walk and see where we can go with this.
This is really interesting because I'm looking at the track listing for this album. They're all really good, cool songs, but I can't picture Duran Duran doing any of them, because they did 911 as a joke. They did Lay Lady Lay, the Dylan song, and they did Lou Reed, in my opinion, his best song, which is Perfect Day. But you said it was terrible?
Once again, the critics didn't like it either. So yeah, it was not. I own it. And I
on what 8-track? What do you own?
I got it on a CD, but I do not.
Do you
play
have a
it.
CD player?
And not just because I don't have a CD player.
Okay,
but actually we have a CD player in our Ford, but I couldn't tell you where.
You didn't have to inventory all your tech stuff.
Knew that.
Did I stumble into the wrong studio? This is the Drew and Mike show.
So that's 8 tracks. So actually 8 tracks is Charlie. Charlie plays
all this
8 tracks.
Dylan talk and Lou Reed talk. Come on.
So
next we're going to be talking about the Beatles.
We're just taking a walk on the wild side, Sean. Come on, sugar. Hey, babe. Take a walk on the wild side with us. Can you dig it?
All right, now we can shut the door.
So anyway, we have one more week of B-Sides month here in Room 7609. And next week, I want to tease ahead to a special guest. We are going to have the lead singer for the Smiths United join us to talk a little bit about a show that's coming up at the Cadju. It's going to be a responsibly socially distanced outdoor venue. He's going to talk a little bit about what it's like to front a cover band for one of the greatest new wave acts of all time, if not one of the greatest acts of all time. We will have a B-side from the Smiths. And next month in October, we will be starting with our new wave tunes covered by other bands, and we will start with a Smiths tune covered by a band that you can't imagine even knew about the Smiths, let alone performed. I will just say that they are French, and they are fantastic. So that's coming up in Room 7609 over the next 2 weeks. Mark your calendar. And as you know, if you're listening to us, you don't get Room 7609 on Facebook, so we appreciate it if you subscribe to the show, if you get those new episodes that pop right up. And we also like it if you can support the show by, first of all, going to our sponsors and calling them and saying you're interested in their product and letting them know how you found out about them. That's ML sent you. Mark, how do people just straight up give us cash?
MLSoloDetroit.com, which is a great website. The pictures on there are pretty fun to look at. But when you're done looking at the pictures, click on the donate button at the top. Take you right to PayPal.
Like how I read a book?
What? What's going on?
Let's see. Ghost.
Sorry, go ahead.
Ghost in the Machine, also a great new wave song by the Police. We will have Brian Masalam's radio spot up there too if you want to hear his daughter endorse ice cream as well as his candidacy. And it's been a while since we've had anybody take advantage of our Cameo program, our Cameo-inspired Cami Soul program. So we may need to pull the plug on this. But if you're wondering how it works, what you do is you go to that donate page, you donate at least $20, and then in the notes portion on the PayPal page, you put something in there like, hey, can you say something to so-and-so? And we say, hey, out there, high school athlete who lived in either a penthouse or a trailer park, I know that you're both different. I know that you're both valuable. But if one of you is a lineman and continues to play lineman in college instead of transitioning to maybe like middle linebacker, or maybe you're big, but you're not that big, they make you a receiver or running back, you'll make a lot more money than your friend. And we know that's disappointing to your friend, but some people think you're equal. I don't know. Society doesn't seem to feel that way. But anyways, your buddy want us to say happy birthday. That's how Cami Soul works. Wow. That's how that shit works. And it's only $20. So let us know if you're interested in doing that. Before we take it away in the same way.
Whoa, what's this guy talking about?
In the same way that some people want to rip down amateurism.
Oh my gosh. Wow. We really got under his skin there again.
Never going to give you up. Never going to let you cry. That's being
a joke 30 minutes later.
Way to be on the wrong side of history. Carry on.
Carry on Johnson, college athlete, well compensated. Anyways, so that's Cameo. And we want to thank those of you who have donated to us, especially Amy, who says, love the show, and today was especially great. Obviously, we did not just get that donation that came in after our Labor Day show. Thank you for playing Dangerous during Room 7609. So it's good to know that both Depeche Mode and the Soul of Detroit are making money off of one of the best B-sides in the history of new wave music. We also make a little money by pimping some swag. We have all kinds of great stuff. We have super duper cheap and cool keychains where you can show your love to Room 7609. If you ever get out into the bars again and you reach into your pocket to pull out your keys and you happen to bring out that handsome Room 7609 keychain, that may be where you make that love connection where somebody else says, oh my God, you also love Room 7609? Well, here's a key to my room. Let's trade. And they may not even be attracted to you. They just may want that keychain and they don't know where to get them. So Mark, to save women from making that terrible mistake, how can people find our great keychains, masks, gaiters, t-shirts, hockey jerseys, books, stickers, and soon a nice comfy warm hoodie?
DrewandMikeStore.com.
Wait, after all that buildup, is that simple?
Will the hoodies have zippers?
That's a great question. I don't know. Let's have a show meeting. Will the hoodies have zippers, ML?
I'm afraid to say no because you guys will both say yes, and then we'll have to put zippers on.
Oh, guys like Mark and I need zippers. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, we're just being real.
But if that goes right down the middle of our logo, that could be tricky.
Why?
Why? There are plenty of zippered hoodies with logos.
Yeah.
Okay, next week.
Everything can be perfect, man. You got to be able to deviate from the script once in a while.
Next week's great debate,
So true.
zippered hoodies, only on the Soul of Detroit. You're not going to want to miss that one, folks. In the meantime, subscribe, share, rate, and love. Our feedback, 526 ratings, according to Chartables, an average of 4.8 stars. This week, our latest rating says the show is okay.
Okay.
Mark does a great job helping
never
out
mind.
and keeping ML on task. Mr. Windsor needs his own show.
I don't know if that's good or bad, though.
Well, wait till
I'm
you
probably
hear-
not good enough. I'm probably not good enough to be here with y'all.
Wait till you hear who your biggest fan is.
Uh-oh.
Hugh Jeppiness. Do you know this man?
I don't. Is this a real person?
Does the mail come to your house sometimes
Think of the
addressed to
name.
Mr. Jeppiness? No?
No.
Okay. Anyways, Hugh Jeppiness, big Sean Windsor fan. And he's a leader in his field. So, Mr. Jeppiness, thank you very much for weighing in.
No. He's not my fan. He doesn't think I'm good enough to be with you.
No, I think he says
wants
you
you to
need
have
your
your
own
own
show. He
show.
wants you to be showcased.
Because he doesn't want to listen to me here. He wants me off some other place.
Wow.
I don't blame him.
That's very cynical of you. Very negative.
I'm not cynical as much as just,
If it wasn't one of the leading ways to spread the coronavirus, we would give you a hug. World rankings.
You like to spread
this just
other people's money.
I wasn't sure where you're going there. Your dark side of Windsor said, I'm going to say legs, but he caught himself.
I had no intention of going there.
It's all right.
Don't project your darkness onto me, please.
Just little Randy. World rankings. We are consistently in the top 100 in the U.S., often cracking the top 50 in news and commentary. So we thank you for giving us that. Yes, thank you very much. We ranked as high as number 27 in Canada. That's the traditional spelling.
The socialists love us.
Canada. We ranked as high as 93 in the United Kingdom. I don't know how, but if you're listening to us overseas, thank you very much. We just started showing up in the rankings in Germany, where we hit number 158. But we continue to struggle in the Philippines, where we have peaked at 808.
Wow.
And I think that's just temporary. But for those of you who really like new wave music, you'll, of course, know the 808 drum machine also inspired the name of a band, 808 State. A little more industrial than.
Thank you for the information.
But just happy to help out there. Sean, what are you working on these days at the Free Press?
I'm back with the Lions, So we've got that rhythm. The Big Ten's going to come back. What's that, Mark?
I liked your Patricia column because that really was the that was it 117 seconds.
Okay,
what a total disaster! But that really encompassed his whole reign as a coach here. I thought.
Oh, thank you very much.
That was a good article.
Thank you. So we got the Lions. Actually going to put together a piece. Mark will maybe agree with this, or I would think you would agree with this, Mark. Should the players who opted out of the season, college football players who opted out of the season before the Big Ten cancel, be allowed to come back?
Well, this is a great debate topic. Where were you an hour and a half ago?
Because that's my column.
Oh, you don't want to steal your thunder?
Well, now we have,
Even though you just did.
next week set up because I think that is a wonderful thing to debate about.
It is.
So make sure you check out Sean's latest at freep.com. We would also appreciate if you would subscribe. It's $1 a month for the next 3 months. It's well worth it. Keep Sean and I. The less money we make at the Free Press, the more time we have to spend podcasting. So think of that as an insurance plan against more podcasts. So subscribe at freep.com. Usually there's a link at the end of our stories. And we also encourage you to continue to support our colleagues here at the Red Shovel Network. That's Charlie LaDuff's No BS News Hour, No Filter Sports with Eli, Denny, and Bob, and the show of all shows, your show of shows, the Drew and Mike Podcast. Cyrus, take us out.
Can you dig that?
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Say when. Right after this drink. Hey, what's a bath without Bubbles? Hey, Bubbles, come over here, will you? Oh, hi there.
Hi.
Well, what's your favorite subject?
Poetry.
Really? Well, maybe you can help me straighten out my Longfellow.
Excuse me. Have you seen
ML Elric?
I think he's in there. Right. Excuse me. Has anyone seen
ML Elric?
That's what I call marine biology.
Sean!
Say hello to my nieces. Hey, wait a minute.
I really reached my breaking point after I made that jump to heroin, and I just knew if I didn't make a change, I would ultimately lose my life. I was passing by a police department, and I just made the split-second decision to walk in. The police officer greeted me, Hope Not handcuffs arrived, and saved my life.
The first step doesn't need to be the hardest. Let us help guide you to recovery. Go to HopeNotHandcuffs.com to learn more.